Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ikra Maryam and I am from group number 6. My roll number is BP1650092. The topic which is assigned to our group is end of life care. Subtopic which I am going to present is symptoms management in palliative and hospice care. At first, we need to know what actually end of life care is. End of life care basically refers to health care for a person in the advanced stage of terminal illness that cannot be cured. The basic principle of end of life care, or you can say the goal of end of life care, is to optimize the quality of life for patient and family in the last week and months of life. End of life care addresses both hospice care and palliative care. Now, what actually hospice care and palliative care is, or you can say what is the difference between hospice care and palliative care. Palliative care is a health care provided to the end stage of terminally ill patient to make them comfortable by managing pain and other distressing symptoms. It is ideally introduced in early stage of disease progression, while hospice care is a palliative care at the end stage of life when patient is near to death. Symptoms management. Symptoms management is actually the integral part of palliative and hospice care and is one of the most challenging aspects of medicines for the clinician. But by managing the symptoms, we can optimize the quality of life for the patient at the end stage of his or her disease and provide relief to the patient from distressing symptoms. The common symptoms that are faced by these patients are anxiety, constipation, delirium, dyspnea, fatigue, asthenia, nausea and vomiting, severe pain and terminal restlessness. Now, case study. Mr. Russell Herbert was 58-year-old male with 100-year history of smoking and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. About 2 years ago, patient noted a salivary patch on his tongue but did not immediately seek medical attention. He continued to smoke and use chewing tobacco. About 6 months ago, the patient sought medical help after he developed the symptoms, which are feeling that something is caught in the throat, difficulty chewing or swelling, difficulty moving the tongue, difficulty articulating, and numbness of the tongue. A workup revealed a oral squamous carcinoma of interior two-thirds of the tongue and floor of the mouth, which had unfortunately metastasized to the cervical lymph node. He was treated with surgical resection of the tongue, extensive resection of bone and soft tissue. The malignancy progressed rapidly despite treatment and resulted in extensive tissue necrosis, resulting in following distressing symptoms. Hypernasality and loss of tongue made speech completely unintelligible. Extensive loss of teeth coupled with loss of tongue, making it very difficult to swallow. Severe facial disfigurement, necrotic non-healing oral ulcer causing severe malodor and facial pain. His symptoms were initially relatively well controlled with methadone 50 mg thrice daily, immediate release morphine sulfate 50 mg every 4 hours for breakthrough pain and on as needed basis, haloperidol 0.5 mg every 6 hours for nausea and vomiting, lorazepam 0.5 mg every 4 hours for anxiety. Mr. Halbert did quite well on this regimen for several weeks, but as the disease progressed, his pain worsened secondary to extensive local tissue necrosis, culminating in admission to hospital for symptoms control. What changes can be done to the existing regimen to manage his symptoms? Now, soap notes. Mr. Halbert's chief complaint is of worsened pain and extensive local tissue necrosis with difficulty to swallow and non-healing oral ulcer causing severe malodor. His medical history is of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and his current medications are methadone 50 mg thrice daily, immediate release morphine sulfate 50 mg every 4 hours for breakthrough pain and on as needed basis, haloperidol 0.5 mg every 6 hours, lorazepam 0.5 mg every 4 hours for nausea and vomiting and anxiety respectively. Now objective. Tissue biopsy of Mr. Halbert was done showing oral squamous carcinoma of anterior two-thirds of the tongue and floor of the mouth that is metastasized to the cervical lymph node. For that, he was treated with surgical resection of tongue and extensive resection of bone and tissue, soft tissues. Mr. Halbert's signs and symptoms are hypernasality, extensive loss of teeth coupled with loss of tongue, severe facial disfigurement, necrotic non-healing oral ulcer causing severe malodor, and facial pain. Assessment. Mr. Russell is unable to swallow due to extensive loss of teeth coupled with loss of tongue. He also shows hypernasality, that is, air flows through the nose during speech and affect the sound of noise, with loss of tongue that make his speech completely unintelligible. He also experienced severe pain due to facial disfigurement. Mr. Russell developed necrotic non-healing oral ulcer causing malodor. His other end-stage symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and anxiety that are well managed with haloperidol and lorazepam, but his pain is getting worse day by day due to progression of disease despite of treatment with methadone. So we will shift him from methadone to subcutaneous morphine with patient control anesthesia of morphine infusion. He is also suffering from dyspnea due to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Now plan. As Mr. Halbert's pain is worsening with progression of disease despite of the treatment with methadone for pain, so we shift him from methadone to continuous subcutaneous infusion of morphine 6 mg per hour with patient control anesthesia of morphine sulfate infusion 2 mg every 15 minutes as needed. But for nausea and vomiting and anxiety, we will continue with haloperidol 0.5 mg every 6 hours and lorazepam 0.5 mg every 4 hours. As patient also suffering from ulcerated tissue, for that we may give him metronidazole gel. We also use oxygen with nasal cannula for respiratory help as he is suffering from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease causing dyspnea. He may also experience dyspnea due to morphine as morphine has a side effect of respiratory depression. In case the patient pain worsen despite aggressive pain management with more subcutaneous morphine infusion and patient controlled anesthesia with morphine infusion, we will shift him to palliative sedation with midazolam. 4 mg subcutaneous bolus midazolam can be administered with subcutaneous infusion of 1.5 mg midazolam per hour. To measure the level of sedation, we can use Ramsey sedation scale that is utilized to monitor the depth of sedation. By measuring the level of sedation, we can titrate the midazolam dose upward to maintain the deep level of sedation to provide comfort at the end stage. Thank you.